Hello and welcome to Stampscapes Live. I'm going to do a scene by request, yesterday's request, which is to use the lightning stamp in a mirror card situation. Actually, I don't know if people wanted the mirror card or not, but we'll do it in a mirror card scenario here. I don't know how that's going to work because, these lightning bolts, they're not that bold or anything like that, on here. We're going to make it look we're going to try to make it look as striking as possible, but see this even in black, like that. Hello, Diana. I don't know how well those are going to show up. Now, I don't have to stamp this in black. I could stamp it in a lighter tone, but let's see how this goes. Hello, Beth. Hello, anyone else that might be on that doesn't post in the chat board, but everyone, thanks for joining in here. And by request, as I was just mentioning in the intro here, I'm doing the lightning bolt by request here. Hello, Beverly. Okay, now one of the things that I've mentioned in these mirror card types of scenarios, it's really good to have some contrast in your sky area, or just whatever the top card is, okay? But these lightning bolts are pretty, narrow. And see, even in black, I don't know how well they'll show up. So, okay, so that being said, I might do this in a lighter tone, okay, just so that it's slightly more visible. And we can also see the silhouette of the Lakeside Cove in here. Hello, Kay, Tammy, PJB Stamper, Sheila. Good to see y'all. Annie. All right, so let's give this a try here. Okay, now this one, this card isn't going to be, we're not going to take forever on this one. I always say that, but then I get lost in all the details, and I love kind of adding all of those little things, and that takes a while, I don't know, or I take a while on that, it's like, oh my god, the Wink of Stella, there's the glitter pen, there's this and this and this and this, and it's, I get lost in all those tiny little details, but the foundation of this should be pretty quick, okay? Quarter page card. I'm just using my matte, cardstock up top. You can use whatever. And that will be placed like that. I've pre-positioned this down. Someone asked me, hey, they looked online to get mirror cards, and there's no such thing as that. And it's like, oh, I just, made up that name. So you format these yourself. So I have a bunch of these 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 pieces. And this is just a half-page piece of paper, and I just fold it over. So these are pretty fast to format like that. Let's see, what was that now? I'm starting to think you're becoming addicted to YouTube lives. Oh, I don't know if I'm addicted to it, but they sure are fun. They're a little, so I'm always talking about kind of dynamics within a scene, kind of creating a visual dialogue on your cards, between one area and another, or two different objects or something like that. It's nice having actually like a dialogue when doing these videos, after doing it. I need to find out how many videos I've posted, but I know there was over 1,000. My videos are numbered, but some of them are numbered, like video, oh, I think it was 615. 615 is like 615A through I, you know what I mean? And there's another one, Mood and Media, which is a series of, I don't know how many videos, that 15 or something like that, A through whatever. But it is nice to stamp with some people, you know what I mean? And have a chat and learn some things, always a fun time. Previously, I think I only did that, well, you go to a retreat or something like that, obviously, but it's usually when I was at conventions or something of that sort, It's like, oh, you get to kind of have a chat with, people with the same hobby, or that, actually do the things that you do and kind of know what you're referencing. Like my friends, my non-stamping friends, previous to my, going, working in the stamp industry, none of them stamp. So they know what I do, at least now. You know, early on, it was like really hard to explain what I did working over at a Stamp in the Hand. Okay, so the Brilliance black ink. Okay, so this is going to be the top area of the scene, okay? And then I'm just going for these kind of bottom rock areas right here. And we don't have to match these up perfectly, okay? It's going to look just fine. Okay, so I'm going for roughly, you know, I might go into these rocks a little bit, but let's see here. So I'm going to probably have that horizon line right around here. Or, let me see. Let me go down a little bit lower. Okay, I'm going to have the horizon line those trees. I guess it should be that back area. But like I said again, don't sweat getting it exact. These the top and bottom are going to match up visually just fine, I hope. All right, so anyway, so I'll roughly try to do the same thing on the top and bottom card. Now, see, I don't have to mask off this up here because it's, you know, I'm printing black on black and it's just going to get covered up with this anyways. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like, okay? So I'll roughly try to get the top part of this one where I'm going like that. But like I said, I'm not going to sweat not getting it matched up, you know, by the 16th of an inch or something like that. So see that? There we go, right there. And we'll go out to the side. Who said that with the, yeah, Kay, you need to try one. I mean, this right here, I mean, these are not hard cards to do, okay? I barely, well, yesterday I added a lot more little details, but I mean, this could be the extent of the bottom half of the scene if I wanted to do that, okay? All right, so see that right there? And let's go on the top. Let's just, let me think here. I'm wondering if I should do, okay, here's the technique thing that I'm thinking about here, the technique consideration. I could stamp out the top portions of this right now, okay, on this white piece of paper, and then add in the lightning and whatever else I'm going to do up here, add in the coloring over the top of it. But I want this, the top portion of this stamp, to be really, really crisp, and I don't want to have to worry about kind of smearing any of my impression. So I'm just going to do the sky first on here, and then we'll stamp this right over the top. We don't have to worry about any kind of smearing, any type of additional application of dye-based inks, you know, so that's when we'll leave that to the end. So we're making it more of an easy process where we don't have to kind of, you know, consider, you know, we don't have to have so many considerations when adding in the rest of our stuff here, okay? All right. That's a good idea, PJB Stamper. The good thing about the digital world these days, there's a lot of things I miss about kind of, you know, everything else that the online world has, you know, contributed to the the eradication of some of these other things. But yeah, this is amazing. I mean, you know, there's you know, the people that are joining in on these live streams from all over, you know, Scotland and, you know, Maine and you know, Australia and whatnot. Okay, so colors on this one. You know, this is where I'm kind of not sure of what color. I'm going to go a little bit lighter here, okay? I want to create a little bit more contrast with the lightning here, okay, by going darker. But if I go too dark, then I won't be able to see this as much. Now, that's no big deal. That's fine when I'm just doing a card like this, but when I'm having to consider what it might look like in that reflected area, see, like if it's like that, you know, with hardly any light reflecting in that, you know, something like this might be very difficult to see. So let's go in between, okay? Let's go in between here. I was thinking one might be a little bit too light, one might be too dark. I don't know. All right, so I'll tell you what, you know, we were talking about Marvy pens in the stream before. Let's see if I have enough ink in one of these here. It's a little bit dry. Oh, check this out. You know how I was mentioning how you can re-ink these If you were in the live stream the other night, I was mentioning how you can re-ink these with just do it with another color. Well, the manganese blue here, apparently I've wrote 104, which is Caribbean blue here, okay? So this is Caribbean blue, and I re-inked it. You see how dry this is? Okay. Let's re-ink this a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to expedite the process. I'm just going to be using some of it right now. Here's my Caribbean blue. All right. What are you using for the mirror cards? Silver foil, Sheila. And it's a nice chrome-like silver foil. I got it on Amazon. Now, I don't know where you'd get it. Maybe Amazon Canada has it or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's on there or not. I'm trying to think if some other people got that. I don't remember if they found it up there or not. Oh. Bugs, but we didn't go too far. We waited and waited and waited for you. We were calling and calling. Okay, so I'm going in. Oh, here, sorry. But look at this right here. See, I mean, it's pretty juicy. Now, I just inked up that, and by capillary action, sorry, it went up. Let me change the exposure here. Okay. So by capillary action, it went up there. But, I mean, you can really re-ink the interior like that if you want to. Okay, so I'm going in here, and I think there was black on here too, but I'm just going in here, and I usually go light into dark. And see, I'm kind of rolling my pen a little bit like this. And yeah, it's picking up some of that darker tone, and then I just roll it out like that. Just to clean my pen. Yeah, it's wasting some ink, but you know, I mean, it's not using up that much. And I don't know, that's all, we used to do that all the time, okay? Ink pads. Okay, let's see here. Mirror silver foil cardstock. That's correct. It's not called mirror silver foil though. It's just called silver. I think it's called silver. I think it's called silver cardstock or something like that. I don't know if foil's in the name. I think it's just cardstock. I don't know. It's in like any of my videos, Sheila. In the description section, it has like all the things that I've used in it with links. The earlier videos might not have had links, but it's always mentioned down there. The later ones have it. Okay, so here we go with this. It might be too juicy, you know? Sometimes you re-ink like that and it's like super juicy. And I'm hoping I got a little bit of variation going through all that. Sometimes it's like, I lift up the stamp or look at the impression and it's like, you know, mono value or something like that. It's always kind of hard to tell what changed. Okay, so there we go. So it's a little bit lighter on the interior like that. And it's all muddled because it was just so juicy, okay? I didn't get enough of them. I need more of a paper underneath this, but I missed right there. But not a big deal because I'm gonna go in my cloud anyway, okay? All right. It was a little bit too cheap. Now, like I said, this looks just fine. If this was going to be my scene and I wasn't really considering the mirror card area, but we'll kind of jack it up a little bit more with, you know, some additional white and those types of touches if we need to, okay? All right, so going in with the cloud, all right? I'm wiping off the side of the cloud, facing the light, okay? So these billows are being lit in one area. If the light is coming from above, then I have the cloud this way, okay? If the light is this way, then I have the cloud that way, okay? If you have the unmounted version of this cloud, it's a really good idea. A customer showed me where just on the rubber, on the back side of it, she put an arrow pointing up, meaning, or, you know, just towards whatever light source you're doing. All right, so one of the things I teach people is the sky figures. You know, if you want to wipe off the edges like that, and then you go into your additional impressions, and you get this nice seamless blend of your imagery, okay? It doesn't have to be just sky. I mean, you can do that with anything. All right. Now this interior, just go like that. All right. Like that. This one might be a tough one as far as that reflected area. You know, I went with a really big, bold, white object in the sky. Hello in Scotland. We were just mentioning Scotland. Okay, so let's see here. You know. See that lightning portion, I want that really light, okay? But we'll see how much it reads. All right, so that, of course, that's a really busy area right there. Let me hit a little bit of this right in here too. All right, getting a little bit more texture right in there to fill that in. Okay, yeah, Kay, that's, I think they call that, you know, kind of going for that watercolor look to that. I was looking at one of those books, rubber stamping for the first time, where they were going over different techniques, and that was one of the things that they called it. They called it the, I think it was using multiple colors or something like that for the watercolor look, you know? So it's actually just kind of physically mixing, you know, your inks on there. And that's what I always recommend for people. You know, a lot of times people stamp out a tree and they want that tree green, so sometimes they stamp out a tree in black and then they kind of put this haze of green around it, when it's just easier just to ink up your tree stamp in green or do multiple greens and just stamp it out and have it color inherently in the impression. Then you don't have to do any coloring afterwards. A lot of people are used to coloring in, though, like outline stamps of trees. Okay, so let's see. You can't even see where the thing ends. Oh, I have it on both sides here. Okay, so let's bring a lot of the attention to this area here. I'm going to leave it a little bit lighter down here, though, okay, because I'm going to have my trees, my Lakeside Cove trees, going in here. So let's go more from dark down. This is like totally different than how I would normally do this one. I would make it darker around on the entire perimeter like that, really kind of bringing that bolt out in terms of it being the lightest thing in that area by far, okay? Do I ever stamp something and pick up your stamp and say, oh, heck no, then throw it away? No, I don't. I'm trying to think of a scenario where that might happen, though. There was something that happened, not really from a content, but it was a medium problem, okay? I don't know, I did something and like there was tape on something or something like that, and I peeled it off, you know, and it just like totally ripped like the top side of like a glossy cardstock or something like that. So I usually recommend to people, I'm always preaching kind of sticking with your pieces and allowing them to, I don't know, kind of develop, but they might not develop in a way that you kind of expected or desired, you know, but it might go in a different direction. So that's why I have those other videos called, what is it? Scrap to Scene, okay? And I always recommend to people, you know, but no one ever does it. Like, 2 people have done it, you know. I recommend, well, people tell me stuff like, oh, they started this thing out and it went into the circular file or something like that. They're tossing it. And I always say, hey, don't toss it, just send it to me, because 99% of the things that I've ever seen where people thought they kind of went off the rails and kind of went, you know, their scene went in a direction and it was ruined, okay? 99% of those, to me, just don't look finished. They just didn't finish it, you know? So that's what I'm always kind of mentioning in my scenes. during the process, I'll say, all right, look at the, scene right now. It looks, it might even look terrible, but it's at like step H, but we're going to step M or something like that. So there's a lot of other things to do. Usually people do that and it's like some kind of blotchy area or some stamp, there's a hard line in between the clouds or something like that. So, we can add in white pigment ink. You can add in additional imagery. You can blend things in. You can do things with, I don't know, light beams, whatever, cover something up with a tree. That's always kind of one of those really old jokes with scenic stampers, it's like if anything goes wrong, you just cover it up with a tree. All right, so see this right here? Now, like I said, this looks a little bit kind of incomplete to me down here, but again, I'm going to be stamping this over the top of it like that, and I need this tree to stand out reasonably well in terms of the contrast between that and the background. It kind of, in some ways, it kind of makes it removes a lot of the things that you might otherwise do, making really this type of scenario here, even faster, easier to do. Okay, so see that right there? That's kind of what it's looking like. I'm missing the top half of my Lakeside Cove and the foreground down here, but kind of get your bearings. Maybe that, I don't know, maybe that's enough with the clouds, maybe those clouds will provide the contrast in there. Let's see, our pen top, I went through some of mine. I found the Marvy wet ones embossing mark I didn't even remember having. Oh, is the embossing marker one of those that are clear? Okay, going a little bit darker up here. Okay, I want to get to black up here, okay? So, adding quite a bit of this in. I just got these embossing. They're not Marvies, but these are the embossing markers that I just got. I tried it once, and it's a double-sided. Are they all double-sided? I don't know. But it worked really well for... I wanted to emboss dye-based inks, and so people were giving me suggestions on how to do that. And then someone just said, well, have you tried a embossing pen? And I thought, oh yeah, I forgot about, I haven't used one before and I never had one, but it sounded familiar. And I thought, oh, that's going to be the easiest thing for me because it's just going and coloring over. For me, it was leaves, like fall colored leaves. Oh, and then speaking of the kind of that watercolory type of approach to coloring for like fall colored leaves and getting those multi-tone colors in those leaves itself. But I wanted to emboss them. But you can't get those multiple tones with like a, like a pigment ink or something like that. That'll stay nice and wet. So those pens there, the embossing pens really worked really well for me. Oh, I don't know. A tree could be getting struck by lightning. But if you put a tree right here and that lightning's in the background, is that lightning 5 miles away or 10 miles away, or is it right on top of that tree? You have to ask yourself that. It's like if I put a fisherman right here, is he getting struck? It wouldn't be a good idea to be out there though on the water, would it? Or on the golf course, or where else do people go? I don't know, just any kind of field. All right, what was that movie? Secret Life of Benjamin Button. I don't know, they were talking about this guy that got struck by lightning. I don't know, it was like 3 times or something like that. Okay, oh, thick colored Marvy marker. I don't even remember those pens. Or were people talking about that one? Was that no, that was the puffy one that we were talking about yesterday. Hello, Rose, you made it. Well, you've been in other lives, haven't you, Rose? Yeah. Okay. We're doing a mirror card here with the, there was a request that came in yesterday for lightning. So I'm doing lightning right here, but I'm doing it a little bit different than I would normally do here. Hello, PJB. Go and have that nice dinner there. All right, let's see here. Going darker here on the perimeter like that. Boy, that's a really nice glow right there, huh? Huh. Like this is that, you know, kind of more satiny, matte-ish paper here, so it's not doing too bad in terms of getting a nice rich glow on this surface. You know, glossy was going to be potentially darker and richer and whatnot, but I've been using more of this type of paper lately because I don't know, some people just cannot get glossy at all. Or they don't know where to get it. You used to be able to get it all over the place, but there were a lot more stores, like stores carried it all the time, okay? They might get it from some other manufacturer, or they just might get it themselves, and they're breaking down reams of, you know, 200 sheets into, you know, packs of 10 or something like that. Or they sold a lot of the 4x6 cards and stuff like that, too. Yeah. Well, good to see you at this one, Rose. Hopefully we can come up with a good project here for you. You might have missed some of the other mirror cards, unless that's one you watched before. They are all of my designs, Sheila. I'm basically an illustrator that happened to find the world of rubber stamping. Yeah, the paper cut. Paper cut's a great place. Marco's, you know, Marco's paper, you know. Marco's paper. One of the things about Marco's is that, or the paper cut is, you know, they really cater to the card maker, crafters, so they're really in tune with the different brands of cardstocks that tend to work really good for our use, okay? There's a lot of other paper companies that, you know, they cater to what their main clientele is. I'm looking at my reflection here. It's a pretty nice blue in that reflected area right there. Okay, here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to see if I should go down into those clouds even more. I don't think I should, though. I think I should leave that as is to create as much contrast between the clouds as possible and the top side of the lakeside cove here, okay? All right, so let's do that right now. Let's see. I wonder if I should go in with the VersaFine Clair. Yeah, okay. That VersaFine Clair is so awesome. But if I stamp that down right there, I'm going to have to wait till it dries a little bit, okay? All right, so here's the other thing. Okay, so I would normally do that, okay, keeping that in mind, in the live stream, okay? If I was just doing this, you know, in one of my pre-recorded non-lives, I would stamp it out and just let it air dry for like an hour or something like that. Yeah. I don't know, Don. That's a good question there. The wisteria. I'd have to look at that in terms of a shape. That'd be kind of interesting. One of the things about those types of trees that have like flowers and stuff is you don't know if you should, the two elements should really be separate pieces so you can color them and then stamp them out separately. But, you know, there you go with the dye-based inks again. I really wish there were real opaque pigmentings that we could just stamp over darker things and it would stand out really good. Okay, so okay, I'm going to add in some additional forms in here, and I'm not going to go too nuts with some additional colors in here. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm going to be fairly conservative in terms of my colors. Like I said, if I'm not considering the reflected area of this, then I'm going darker up here. I'm probably adding something warm or a little bit of pink, to twist the color scheme in this. It's already going into kind of the warm color scheme because of that Caribbean blue right here. All right, it's that color. But, I'd put a little tinge of something else in here. But again, I want to keep this reasonably light to contrast against that the tops of the trees of the cove. All right. So that being said, let's go in with our softening. Those clients already look pretty soft. I don't really have to do this. Okay, I think it looks okay as is, but let's go like this, and yeah, that does look a lot better, doesn't it? Okay. I didn't know. Sometimes you have to kind of apply something to really tell if it's going to be as effective as you kind of hope it would be. But look at this right in here, okay? Like I said, I just re-inked that pen so it's got a little blotchy. So if I just go over it like this, okay, I feel that that kind of glowing light, it pushes everything in the background and it just kind of mellows things out a little bit more. It enhances, but it also kind of obscures. It enhances neutral or good things, but it also obscures the bad. So that being said, that question that came up is, when you stamp something out, do you just kind of, say, oh, and just toss it? No, if I went to this process right here and I started adding in things like this and it just was not coming together, then I might toss it. But I haven't met a scene yet that can't be remedied from either lighter, softer types of applications or crisp, sharp ones, like with paint pens, gel pens before the paint pens were out there. But I don't know, just additional textures, I don't know, they solve all of my problems basically, if there are any, okay? And the one, a lot of mine, I don't, like I said, I'm not too, I don't know, maybe careful is the word in terms of some of my applications, because I just know I can remedy it later on with things like this, with a cotton ball. All right, so see this right down here? I mean, that's kind of looking nicer, isn't it, like that? I didn't think this was going to do this much, but it is. It looks so much nicer with that kind of glowing softness in there. Wow. So we get that kind of looking really good and nice and soft with a nice textural light, good kind of textural contrast. And then we're just going to stamp over it with our Lakeside Cove, Not all of it, but... So you get it, that's what you do. You get it going exactly the way you want, and then you just cover it up. One of the good things with this live show is I'm constantly looking at my screen, so I'm not like working down here like I always did, on my other videos. Because, I only have my little tiny screen on top of my camera, and it's mounted up high, so I can't really see that screen really well. But I'm a lot more conscious of not working off screen than I was before. All right, so that is that. Boy, that looks like so much more depth there. Huh. Oh, I forgot I was going to show you guys the first time I ever did this technique right here. No, Marcus doesn't carry my stamps. If they ever did, I don't think so. Because I've been aware of Marcos for a long time. They used to be at they did a lot of shows. So I was going to say they were at all the shows that I used to do on that circuit, but I was really at their, all the shows that they were doing, because they were probably just constantly traveling on the convention circuit, going around that big old truck of theirs, that was full of, all those papers. I don't know if I saw them at every show, but it seemed like it. It seemed like they were always there. Let me see something, if I still have it handy. Yeah. Okay. So this is going back, doing a little aside here, okay? All right, so this is, let me see if there's a date on here. Oh, okay, so this is Rubber Stamp Madness, September, October, 1998. This is my layout. You didn't used to submit things digitally. You submitted the hard copy, okay? Now their pieces, their ads, their magazine was huge back then. Okay, it was like tabloid. Okay, but the ads, I think you created them larger than 11 by 17. So I used to have to do something like this, and I would do a separate little piece up here. So this is like some kind of sky element or something like that. But right down in this water, this is the first time I've ever used white pigment ink in here. This is the original too. Okay, so there's my little pen dots down there. Okay, and see, I use the clouds that I just used, in this scene right here, or that one that we're working on right here. But I put it down at the base of the waterfall, so it gives it that real kind of, I don't know, I think it's kind of a whimsical, little magical look to it. And this is the first one. And after I used that pigment ink in here and I saw how it looked in that water area, I probably used it on 80% of my scenes since then. At least 75 for sure, but I don't know. I just can't get past a finish point without using that in most scenarios there. I'm looking at the scene. I should do this one again. But here's the babbling brook that I just used the other day, and here's the, the cloud that we're using right now. I was thinking about using, we just used the boulders with lichen there in the card from the other day. The other mirror card, I forgot what we did with that, where I did the blocking out. Okay, so anyway, 1998. Going back a while, but that's the first one. I remember looking at that thing going, oh my God, I found my, the thing that I've been missing in all my scenes. All right, I need a Q-tip here. I have my little Q-tips hanging up in a little Ziploc bag right here, nice and handy. All right. Lynn, Lynn, I didn't start working on, I didn't start too long ago on this one, so you didn't miss too much. This is a pretty quick scene right here. Okay, so those lightning bolts in there, everything else is soft around it. I don't know if I should go too soft over it. I'll tell you what, I'll go with a little bit of a soft light over that main bolt there, okay? Just to give it a little bit more of a stronger illumination. Is that a raft in the water? It was a boating fisherman. Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay, weren't those awesome? It was like a newspaper. And then they changed the format. I think that the only magazines that I remember in that format, does anyone know the magazine? I think it was called Interview. I don't know what it was. It was like fashion or something like that. But I remember that big tabloid, looking book on the magazine stand. Actually, that looks really good there. Look at that. See that main bolt like that? Doesn't it look better? I mean, this white pigment ink is really changing the spirit of this. Okay. Top scene. The top scene, to me, I mean, it matters, but it kind of matters more to me how it looks in that in the reflection. For me, with these mirror cards, I haven't done a lot of these mirror cards, so a lot of the stuff that I do, I'm seeing for the first time. Like yesterday's, that Seaside Cove and how it handled the reflective area. And last night too, it occurred to me that not everything that you do down in the foil area needs to be blocked out. When I was doing these initially, I would have colored all those in with white ink before, doing that block out. I mean, maybe it'd be a good idea to do on this one, I don't know. But it occurred to me that I probably didn't have to, okay? All right, so let's see here. You don't get those textural changes showing up like in the water, but I think it looks really good up top there like that. All right. Yeah, my gosh, when did 1998 become quarter century ago, huh? That is so nuts. All right, so, okay, so like I said, there's the bottom part of my Lakeside Cove, and it's, you know, pretty much in the center of this piece. So I'm just going to take this and I'll go roughly right around there, and I'll try to get this, you know, the paper is going to be stamped, oh, like right here, roughly about, okay? And like I said, I don't have to match it up too closely. I'm not going to hold this up to that piece and match it up, okay? It shouldn't need that, okay? That degree of precision, okay? It's that I don't make any of my designs like that, okay? There's leeway, you know, there's plenty of wiggle room, all right? Or what do you call it, tolerance in terms of the positioning of stamps. Occasionally there's like a stamp, like my lighthouse, you know, that has hard edges on the side, but everything else is designed to just kind of merge in with one another. All right, so let's see, let's go around right here. VersaFine Clair, because we're going for that really nice, light, or stark, not light, stark contrast. Glad you were able to catch it, Stacy. Thanks for joining in, checking it out here. Let me stand up for this one. I don't want to miss this impression here. Like I said, I need a bigger stack of paper underneath here. I usually try to create a little bit more cushion. Some people used to stamp on top of a piece of like a newspaper, but I don't know. Do any of you get newspapers still, you know, delivered? I don't, you know. I do miss it though. You know, like the Sunday paper and, you know, and whatnot. I always look so forward to getting that, you know. Some people were crafters always loved that Sunday paper with like the Michaels coupon in it. But all right, so that is that right there, okay. And let's see if we're okay in terms of the mirrored reflection. There we go. You know, it's not like that. That's pretty cool right there. I can see the top of the trees. You know, it's interesting to me is I can see the tops of the trees below that reflected area right there. Okay, so that's what that looks like. So see what I mean? You don't have to get it, you know, precise at all. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. I thought I would have to go darker out here, okay? In order for that lightning, you know what I mean? I wanted that lightning bolt to really stand out, but I guess it's really as much of the kind of the reflection off the trees than anything. And that lightning bolt's not too bad in there, in the reflected area, okay? All right, so let's see here. Let's add in our foreground element, okay? Let's stick with, that nature set number 8. We were talking about kind of starter sets yesterday, right? And the nature set 8 contains the pines and rocks down here. We'll just flank this like this and this. All right. I wonder if this one's going to get a quote stamp in that silver area. Okay. I should really consider that right now, because if I fill this in with those trees, then I'm going to be limited in terms of what I can stamp down here. Now, you know, to talk to you about how fast these cards can really go, I mean, you could just, you know, this could be the card just like this, and that's it, you know, that doesn't take long at all, right? But I just think it looks cooler to have some foreground elements in here. It just kind of extends the depth of the piece. But yeah. All right. So let's see. Brilliance Black. I don't have a quote that about lightning. Oh, you know what I was thinking too? With those metallic pens, those extra fine metallic pens, it would kind of be nice to just hand write something across this area with a, metallic pen. I mean, you can write a quote down just in your own handwriting. That would really personalize something. Or I know, in a card like this too, let's say you're giving it to someone. I mean, you could do, the whatever, like happy birthday, to you, uh, in handwriting on this, and that would be really cool. You'd have you'd have your writing like floating on the surface of a lake. Isn't that, how cool is that? You do. I can probably, you can probably do this same type of scenario. Maybe not with the lightning up here, but let's say you did um, white trees on black paper, or just darker paper. Could have been the star green lapis lazuli, and then stamp these bottom portions in white as well, like this, right? These trees. And then this would probably be more reminiscent of like a frozen lake, right? All right. All right. Laying this down right here. Keep in mind, if you haven't heard me talk about this before, it's easy to lay a stamp down with, kind of your thicker styles of pigment inks. You can do like a StazOn here too, or something like that. But if you're going with a thicker pigment ink, just when you lay that stamp down, just make sure it doesn't kind of skew like that. It's very easy to do because this is such a slick surface. And then if you're using those thick inks like that, it can easily, do that. Some people might, if you that were in here a couple scenes ago, saw me kind of mess up a quote stamp, but you can just wipe it right off and do it again, okay? Because these impressions down here, unless you're doing it in StazOn, okay, the Brilliance pad, you can just wipe it right off and it'll come right off. Let's see, what was that question from Stacy? Did you stamp on the sides of the bottom card last night? I did, with the reeds stamp. And then I also put down some of the tiny rocks down here. We'll do that on this one too. Not with the reeds, but I was thinking about the those rock textures, okay. See, I get a little bit better when stamping on top of this foil. When I lay this down, I'm more decisive, and then I just keep it down there like that. Sometimes when I'm going slower, it goes, or I feel it kind of a little bit. Okay, let's see. What's that? A pelican? Pelican? We can use a pelican, or someone thought that was a pelican in the waterfall. If someone saw a pelican in that ad for Rubber Stamp Madness, then that's what it was. Okay. It's whatever you want that scene to be, or elements within the scene. Okay, let me see here. That's one good thing about the Brilliance inks too. They're just dye-based inks. I mean, not dye-based, but they're water-based pigment inks. So that's my extent of cleaning right there. Now, if I want to do like greens on here, I might, rinse it off or something like that, or clean the stamp. But otherwise, I don't have to do that. All right. Where did my tiny rocks go? I think I put it away already. Let me see. Where did it go? Oh, it's right here. Here's my other set right here. Those rocks right there. All right. Let's see right here. Okay, so I'll show you what this looks like. So every step of the way, I'll try to show you guys what this is, what each element is adding there. So see that right there? You get those foreground like that. It really frames off this bottom portion for me. I'm telling you, when I look at these cards like this, for me, I'm really focused down here when I'm looking at it. And it just might be because, I've been doing cards for, a gazillion years now, and I'm always looking at this, right? But this is kind of this new kind of element for me, so I'm just kind of that reflective type of area. I don't know. It mesmerizes me. And again, it might because it's kind of new, I don't. I've probably done a dozen of these by now, but I don't think I've done 20 mirror cards before, or to this point. Now I've stamped on the silver, but I just didn't do it in this format, like a mirror like that. All right. Here's another thing too. I'm getting better at stamping like these rocks like this, the solid areas like that. Sometimes when you're stamping on foil with pigment, I stamp it out and I lift it, and it happened right here on the second impression. Do you see where that second impression, let me see if I can show you guys effectively, but you see how these rocks over here are solid, but this one's right here have that little area on the top where it didn't stamp. It's because I'm stamping it quickly and lifting it like that. So it kind of like, it's like a vacuum and it comes right off, but I am able to get the solid ones there. So it's kind of, you have to kind of get a feel. I mean, this is not a hard process, but you do have to kind of get a little bit of a feel for, it's not only the ink that you're using, but it's how wet the pad is, okay? And how long you should kind of hold the stamp to the surface. Now, I was purposely going for some lighter lighter textures down there, so that it looks a little bit maybe farther off in the distance. So let's see what those ones look like now too with the scene, okay? So you get those, let's see here. See those rocks down there? Right there? It really brings the shoreline closer to us. Or those could be just rocks that are underneath very, very clear water too. Hello, Cheryl. Thanks for joining in here. We're doing some little final touches here on a mirror card. Let's see here. I think I can go a little bit darker on the upper right and left corner. I don't have to, but I think it looks pretty good as is. But that VersaFine Clair, here's the thing too. Here's my little tweaks, little types of things that I often do that I think they're all real easy little things, okay? But I think that cumulatively, okay, when they all add up, I think they add in quite a bit of a, I don't know, kind of I don't know, like a finishing touch to things. Things seem a little bit more rounded out. Okay, so let's just go on. I'm just going to use this cotton ball here, and I'm going to go a little bit darker here. So sometimes here's what I'm getting at here. Sometimes the darkest tone that I bring in to, can you see what I'm doing here? See, it's just that little area like that. It's this little tip of a paper here. I'll show you what I'm doing right here on this little piece of paper so you can tell easier. Okay, so I'm going like this. All right, so it's just, I'm putting this little edge like right in there. And I'm matching the darkest element down here. So it's kind of like capping off that level of value, dark to light, in the corner like that, okay? So that being said, if you don't have very dark things in there. Now, if this was all kind of just absolute high noon blue sky, I'm not going to put black up there, okay? But this one can take it because it's going fairly dark in that corner already, okay? But those little types of things, it really can frame things off a little bit more, okay? And like I said before, the darker you take, you know, other areas of, yeah, you can see that right there. See that black right there? If you make that one step darker, then by contrast, these areas in here seem one step lighter, okay? So there is that. Yeah, okay, that lightning came out better than I thought it would. From a visibility standpoint. I'm looking at some, let me see. Let's go back in. I'm picking up a little bit of that blue on my little cotton ball here. You see that? So it is picking up a little bit of that, but it's not too bad. I want this area up here to be a little bit more, I don't know, resolved texturally. So you put a little bit of white pigment ink over it like that, and that solved all of my problems in life right there. There. Okay. So anyways, it was a little harsh in here. Okay. All right. So that is that. Has anyone tried a mirror card here yet? Besides me. In this live stream. Oh, they're getting there soon, huh? Froggy Fresh. Let's see. Shipped them on Monday. Wait, Monday or Tuesday, right? Okay, we're going in with some fine point detailing. Okay. All right, let's see. Where do you add the dots? Okay, that's one of those things that I'm always asked. Okay, so if we look at the cloud cumulus stamp here, okay. Now, not all these billows, I mean, this is the billow, this is how this looks when stamped out, okay. I might have filled in some area with a lot of tone, okay, so they're not going to be light billows anymore. There might be, you know, darker billows out there. I just realized something too. Okay, so as I'm explaining that, let me show you something here. Let's do this right here. What I always tell people in my classes too is that just because something disappears when you tone it out doesn't mean you can't add those textures back in. You just do it in a darker shade. Okay, so let's go with this right here. This might kind of make things a little bit more dramatic, or it might absolutely ruin things. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so I'm wiping off that top part again, right there. Okay, the top part of the bellows, where it's facing the light. You have it kind of pointed towards the light right there. Now remember, I stamped out those impressions with, I think it was the number 10 blue like that. Real similar to the Bahama blue. But I used all those darker colors over here, so, you know, that cloud doesn't read over here anymore. So you stamp this in a darker version out here afterwards, you know. And let's allow some of this ink to transfer onto the page, okay? Like I said, this is a matte, so it should take pretty quickly. All right, so do you see that right there? It looks a little bit more, I don't know, kind of deep, doesn't it? To have those extra billows out there. And that's just stamped in black, and we'll do it again right over here. All right. I think it'll be good for the mirror card format to do this. I mean, you know, this top scene, there's not a lot going on with it, okay? I mean, I think it looks okay as a scene, but you know, without the mirror card portion down below, I mean, there's, I guess the lightning bolt is the focal point, but, you know, it's just so symmetrical, and I don't think it's at, you know, as interesting as it could be. So see, adding these in like that, it's just kind of adding an extra layer of, oh, I guess texture and depth, I guess. All right. Okay, let's see here. Let's go like this. I'm just going to use a little portion of it like that, okay? So you just come in like that. Okay, so that looks a little bit better, I think, huh? It seems like you know, without it, it's like, you know, it's hard to imagine it without that now. I can put another one right here too. Let's do that. Basically, where I'm putting this is in the areas that got really dark. Ah, Vicky. I was out in my garden too. I was cleaning up around my, always getting rid of the artichoke, you know, the leaves. It had already produced, and it was, you know, everything's going dormant. So all the leaves, I pulled off all the leaves and threw it in the compost. All right, so there's that right there. That does look a little bit better now. It looks a little bit deeper in terms of spatially. These clouds to me look closer, and there's this almost like funnel going back into the distance right there. I don't think it's going to read with the reflected area down there. I don't think you'll be able to see those clouds because this area up here, when you're viewing it in this mirror format, you know what I mean? It's too far away, so it's like way down in here. But I think in terms of up there, it looks, it added to that, it added to the depth up there. And again, it's, you know, I added that little dark black tone in there. Well, this is like black imagery too, so I don't know, it just kind of framed everything else out a little bit better. All right, so, okay, now we can do this now. I don't know, I think of other things to do on my scenes because I'm trying to describe it to you all. So, I don't know, you might be inspiring more detail and super long videos. I was telling someone, okay, I went on the live stream the other day to do 2 quick versions of the birch and waterfalls, and it went an hour longer than the previous one. But that's a good thing. I always love all the little, you know, details and additions and whatnot. I'm not on every weekend, every evening, Vicky. And one of these days I will kind of schedule a broadcast. I don't know, it's like every day is different though. Like today my son was I was mentioning yesterday, he's not graduating today, but he's in band, the school band, so he had to you know, get out at the graduation and, you know, play whatever, Pomp and Circumstance. And I wasn't quite sure when that was going to get done, so you know, we had to go pick him up. All right, so I'm adding in these little highlights around in here, okay? Okay, this is what I was describing before I decided to add this in a darker tone. Okay, so where these billows right here, the tops of billows, okay, I've gone in and I've added in, you know, some white pigment ink, like around in this area that's kind of light, all right? If I didn't tone it in, you know, with a bunch of blue. But those areas that I did that with, that's a soft application of white media, right? So this is a crisp application because it's a dot, okay? And I'm adding that on the tops of the billows, or on the side of those little illuminated billows. I'm adding in this little detailed little feature here, okay? So here's the thing. If it's lighter, then I can add more of them. But if it's so light, you can't even see it, okay? So it's usually kind of in those lighter to medium areas that this really stands out really nicely. And then if an area is like completely in the dark like this, it stands to reason there probably wouldn't be very much illumination in there. Now, I was showing the other day where you can go in and add in darker highlights into those darker areas like that, okay? But see that? Those little things like that are starting to bring some of these little cloud billows to life. All right, yeah, that's right. The eye of the storm like that. Is anyone here from in Missouri? I flew into St. Louis one night, and I was driving out to I always kind of forget. It's Columbia, right? Not Columbus. Yeah, Columbia. And I have never seen lightning like that in my life. It was so cool. It's because I didn't have like a bunch of like mountains and everything obscuring it, and I don't know. It was like lightning from I don't know, like the edge of the world to the edge of the world. It was like so dramatic and awesome. Luckily, there weren't too many cars on the road because it was also raining and I was driving, you know. Uh, but wow, that sure was spectacular. It left an impression for sure. Okay, so I'm adding these little tones in here like so. And like I said, it's just those little detailed types of touches in here. I don't know if you can see it. It's like little highlights right in here. I've gotten my camera as close as I can get zoomed in here, but okay. But here I'm adding like so. Let me get that my darker or lighter blue. Okay. So if I do this light blue, then it's going to leave a darker dot, right? Because it's not white. So sometimes you can do the darker highlight in the darker areas. Okay, I'm not going to go crazy with it. Otherwise, it'll look like, you know, like I put like Christmas lights up in those clouds. Oh, spawn and turtles, huh? I was cracking up last night after last night's video. I was thinking, saw my new spawn, and you know, in the live stream, or well, you did. Spawn and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I'm sure other types of you know, comic book genre books and characters. Okay, so this one's blue, all right? It's like a pastel blue. It's not super dark or anything like that. But see this right here, I can just kind of add in these little, I mean, sometimes a highlight might be a dot, okay? Like that. Because it's in a darker area. It's just kind of being illuminated. It would be like, I don't know, like say like this little, maybe not this one, but that's like a big highlight. But okay, so something like this. You know, see like this thing has this little highlight right there, right? So that's what that kind of represents, you know, any type of thing, even a black object like this, okay? So see, I'm going like this, and on this little area right here, it has that highlight. So everything really in life, you know, unless you're just in a world that, you know, are surrounded by things that just are not reflective at all, but anything mildly hard or whatever, or reflective will catch that light and reflect it back. And that's the types of things that kind of make things look a little bit more three-dimensional. So, it's, you know, it's little things like that. If you add some that, you know, too much and it's like, oh my God, I went crazy with the acrylic pen, then just take your, you know, take your sponge or whatever, you know, paper towel, whatever you apply that ink with, and just add some more ink to it and just tone over it. You don't have to do it in black, do it in color so you make that dot darker, okay? I've been going on a lot, Vicky, around this time, so like 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I was going to try to get on earlier, but today, just to vary it, because, you know, people like, you know, Scotland or, you know, UK or whatever, it's like really late for them. And Yeah, it's oftentimes around this. Sometimes I've gotten on much earlier, or well, I don't know. One time it was like midnight, so I had people from Australia, coming on, or people waking up and um, the getting ready for work in the UK or something like that. But these will be ongoing, so I don't know. Hit the notification bell. Well, I'm guessing all of you have that going, but yeah. And then I don't know. I should do something where it's like just a regular time, at least once or twice a week. With the time. Okay, so that's that blue out there. So I don't know if you can you see that? There's some kind of white dots, but I put the white dots in the white area, so you might not be able to see it very well. We can do those other things with metallics that are really cool too. Okay, but that's the clouds up there, okay? Now we have these areas down here on these rocks, okay? So let's go into some of those. And I barely see the rocks on here, okay? It's because they're mostly on the foil. Okay, but I'm going to add a few little highlights like this on the top side of them, okay? Like that. And, okay, now you don't have to make all this stuff up, okay? It's in the designs themselves, okay? See these rocks in here, they're being top lit and bottom shaded, okay? There's this dark shade around the bottom. There's this area right in here on the top of that rock that's very light. Okay, so, you can just go in and reiterate what's on the design themselves. It's not always going to be like that, but you almost could. Now, like if this area in here is just completely dark and these rocks in here got to like a navy blue, then you're saying that they're like all in the shadows. But you put a couple little dots in there if you want to. Just like I showed you with that pen, like even a black plastic pen is going to be reflective. But see, even just that little tiny bit like that, it looks like the light is kind of coming from above like that, okay? And you can just, add more or whatever accordingly. Whatever you want to do. Put a couple dots on there and see if you like it. And then, if you want to go more, then add like one or two more and just keep holding it at kind of arm's distance to get kind of a good indication of how those marks are influencing kind of the overall look. All right. So here's my question right here too. When it comes down to the reflective area like that, we have these rocks down here and look how illuminated they are like that. Okay. So it's like, do I put highlights on them or not? I don't really know the answer to that yet. In terms of, my experience with this type of mirror card formatting like that. But I could tone in here a little bit more and add some shade. I think I'm going to leave this really simple though and not do that. I think let's go in here. I think these ones could use a few little highlights. Won't they look a lot more dimensional? Don't those rocks really look like they're coming out at you though? I mean, they kind of are, but they're they're flat, but they look real dimensional to me. So let's try it here. All right, now this area right down here is probably dry, but let's cover them up with something just so I don't, kind of, I don't know, get all that ink removed. So let's go like this, all right? And let's go on to some of these rocks right here, okay? Piece of lint. All right, so here we go. Now these little dots really stand out on this foil. So I'm just not quite sure of how many I should do. And it looks really kind of bizarre when I just look at it like that, okay? But again, I'm doing it mostly for what they look like when this area is being reflected. So, or the area up top is being reflected in this one. Oh, let me just try it like that. There aren't too many, but that's what it looks like right there. And let me show you. When it's in the dark, they really stand out like that, okay? But let's take a look like this, and let's see if that did anything. It did a little bit. It's kind of hard to see when it's like this. Well, now it really shows up. But when it's like that, I think that's about right. Like that. They're almost too much though, huh? It's like crawling. It's like a little something in the shadows, you know, little eyes or something like that. Yeah. So let's knock them back a little bit. Let's do what I was mentioning, okay? So I'm going to knock them back a little bit with a little bit of black pigment ink here, okay? All right. Let's see. Oh, your garage was struck by lightning. Wow. Yeah, glad you're okay. Huh. You're an electrician and never stood next to that amount of voltage. Huh. Okay, I'm putting a little bit of this tone on there, so that just kind of mellowed out. Look at, see how much brighter those dots are than these, okay? I mean, I could take like an X-Acto blade and just remove that too, but yeah, I don't need to do that. Let me take this right here. Since I'm doing this anyways, I'm going to add a little bit of tone around these rocks right here and kind of anchor them into the scene with a little bit of shadow work. I won't do too much though, okay? I want to leave this card pretty simple. When I say I'm leaving something pretty simple, I'm talking about in terms of the process to create it. I want it to look pretty complex though in terms of the appearance of it though, okay? Let's go like that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. It looks better, all right? So that's kind of wide open like this. It's at a wider angle, but then you close it in like that, and then you get a different look like that. Look at that. You can't even really see those rocks in here anymore. Isn't it kind of bizarre like that? Then you tilt this up like this, and you get that. Huh. Let me see. Here we go. Like that. Like I said, I wasn't sure about that lightning in there, but I think that's pretty dramatic. Okay, so when I'm doing this lightning normally on a card, I usually stamp it like this, okay, coming in like this, and then I go upside down like this, and that Lakeside Cove would be smack dab in the middle. People love doing that, but this with the mirror card is just, I don't know, it's so much more dynamic like that. I love these mirror cards. They're fun, that's for sure. All right, is that clear dry yet on this piece? I think I can format this. I wanted to make, I was telling my wife when she was saying, okay, what do you want to eat for dinner? I was like thinking, you know what, pancakes have been in my mind. We never eat pancakes for dinner, but I think I was watching something and they had pancakes on, and it got me thinking about pancakes the whole rest of the day. All right, formatting, easy stuff. I don't even worry about getting it right to the edge, you know. This paper, you know, your cardstock's stiff enough. It's not going to be like, you know, all flappy on the side or anything like that. I would give it the cross thing though, and if you're doing like a half-page piece, you know, sometimes I do those intermediate little pieces in the middle there. And, you know, I mean, you can do other things on these types of cards too. You can emboss things down here, but if I can avoid embossing foils, I generally do, and applying that amount of heat to it, because, you know, that foil starts to curl, or it gets that curl in it. And I can counter curl, but I don't know. I don't like doing that too much. So there's that. And if you haven't seen a mirror card before, people are, often saying, well, wait a minute. Well, what do you put on the outside of the card? Well, you can put the greetings on the outside or a quote stamp or something like that, or whatever you want. You can say happy birthday, uh, happy birthday, wish you were here. Here. Something like that. But look at this card. Isn't that fun? I mean, when you look about this, I mean, this bottom scene, there's not a lot to it. I just stamped out the bottom half of this, right? And two other stamps. There's the, the pine, pines and rocks flanking this, and a little bit of texture down there with the tiny rocks. Didn't have to have it in there. It could just look like that, without those rocks down here. But I think those rocks give it a little bit of extra depth. And what I've mentioned before is that if you put objects reasonably close to you, okay, from a visual standpoint, it kind of puts us as the viewer in the scene a little bit more if you have things that you can kind of reach out and touch. And I like this part of the foil kind of construction, that this is in focus right here, but this down here, I mean, in that foil, it's kind of blurry, so you get this kind of distance type of dynamic in there. It's the same thing, but it just has a different feel. This is really cool too. I wasn't anticipating those trees kind of reflecting down below those shadow reflections that I drew in there, but now you have this, actually the reflections of the trees actually reflecting in there, It makes it really fun. Normally what I do too is I'll stamp out some extra trees like higher in here. In this case, I would have done them in blue. And then I stamp them upside down in the water, but in this mirror thing, it's like taking care of all of that for me. I don't have to do any of that. So it's really creating, in many ways, it creates less work if there are certain things that you are going after, like, additional depth and foreground types of considerations. It's just, if this was on one card, okay, I think this would look pretty cool. If I was just doing one half-page piece vertical and everything was done like this, but down here, but you get it down there, but only having to do half the work because it's reflected up there. So I guess it's only for water things though. Yeah. I was thinking of pigs in a blanket, because we had these sausages. So I was thinking of that. Now you guys got me thinking about food again, which is a good thing, I was telling someone, I don't remember a lot of things, of some of my trips, but for some reason I remember like what I ate there, But, okay, let me see here. Okay, so I was thinking about a quote in here. I don't know. I don't know if I want to put one across here. I think I want to leave that as, as is in there, but I don't know. And like I said in that scene yesterday, I would just kind of put the quote on the outside. Oh, here's the thing too. See, like this thing right here, you get this extra flap. So when like I get everything dry, what I do is I go back in here and I fold this over and I just trim off all that excess type of thing so that everything's really flush. Look at that. Opening it up like that. Look at this. This is like upside down like this. And that kind of bizarre. It feels like I'm opening up, this illuminated, it's like one of those trunks, like in a, I don't know, something bizarre is in the inside, where it's like light is on the inside like that. But that would be a cool thing for some kind of floating text in there. I don't know what, though. I think I'll leave it as that for right now. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to make this one short one, okay? There's a bunch of, I gotta get some orders taken care of and whatnot and format some, get some dates set on some workshops that there are a couple people that want foil workshops, okay? So I need to get that scheduled for them. and figure out a date on that. I was going to do it next Sunday, but next Sunday is Father's Day, so oh, I should do a Father's Day card. I always do something with like a fisherman or something like that. My dad loved to fish, and I usually come up with some kind of a scenario where it's like represents him inside the scene or whatnot. But yeah, I need to get that going. So anyway, thanks so much, Donna. Diana, have a great evening. For those in Scotland, if you're out there, I don't have you up like all night again, putting everyone to sleep, But that is the card right there. Thanks so much for joining in. You guys inspire me. It occurred to me, like I said, there's certain things, I don't know why, I guess kind of talking things out, it's like, oh, I can do this and this and this, where if I'm just by myself, I might not think to do it, so, yeah. Oh, Annie, Annie, we got to get that mirror, that foil scenario going. I think one of these mirror cards would be really good for that, so. Donna, Diana, Sheila, Annie, PJB. Hey, PJB, you came back. You finished dinner already? Stacy, Cindy, Froggy Fresh. Thanks for the idea on the lightning. I don't know who said that yesterday, but yeah, it was really fun to do. I don't think I would have grabbed that lightning because I wouldn't have thought to use it in a mirror card situation. And then yesterday I said, okay, maybe I won't do some mirror cards. And someone said, hey, we like the mirror cards. So I thought, well, let's combine it into one. This is one of my favorite mirror cards, I think. So, yeah. And it was one of the more simple ones, I think, too. Well, all right. Sam Hawkins, thanks so much again for joining in. For all of you out there watching, not commenting, thanks so much for all of you joining in too. Always appreciate you checking out the channel. Yeah, fun stuff here. Thanks, Vanessa. Glad you liked it. I had a lot of fun with this one. I love these mirror cards, If I can do mirror cards only for the rest of my life, I don't think I would be missing out on too much. Maybe we'll have to try sometime. I've done it before, but in this area up here, you do some kind of scene on or scenario or whatever on the mirror. I mean, not mirror, but the where is it? Where is the piece here? I'm looking. I have something somewhere. It's the mirror. It's the rainbow holographic ones, the one with all those colors in it. Maybe we'll do a Northern Light type of thing. Oh, why don't we do like this same thing down here, but we do that thing with like a Northern Lights type of thing with the rainbow holographic or something like that up there, and that should be really cool. Again, with this exact same composition, maybe that would be cool. All right, thanks so much again. Signing off. Have a great rest of day, evening, morning, wherever you are. Glad you liked it, Kay and Karen. I don't know, Sheila's still on there, Sheila, you should do this one for your customers. You said you have the stock on hand. Yeah, just throw anything you want up in the sky. This one's a super easy one too, if you just stamp this top portion on a cloud photo print here. I'm trying to keep this right here. There we go. A cloud photo print. And that makes this a really, really fast project. And I think really dynamic, A lot of people say, oh my God, I can't do something like that. This could be like one of the easiest types of projects, possible. And you can start them off with something like that. I don't know. Sheila might have dropped out here, but anyways, good night, everyone. Good night, Vanessa. Good night, everyone. Yeah. We will do that, Cindy. Love the lives. All right. Let's see. Here we go.